My friend, I have some bad news and I have some good news.
Let's hear the good news first.
Well, the good news is that we test a lot of pickup trucks at TFL.
That is good news.
And I have some ideas on how we can improve the Ram pickup truck.
Okay, so then what's the bad news?
Well, they're not selling as well. I think they're in trouble.
Are they not?
Yeah. So we have data on TFLtruck.com for Q1, first quarter of 2023. Ram truck in the United States sales were down 17.1%. And I don't think it's getting any better over the last few months.
Yeah, and that's especially not great considering that most of the manufacturers, as you can see here, are going up in sales, which makes sense. Bigger vehicles and pickup trucks especially have been increasingly popular over the last couple of years, and why those numbers are going down for Ram definitely deserves some attention.
And I think there's one huge reason. It's because where is the new refreshed Ram truck? And I'm talking about both the half-ton and also the heavy duty.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this video, we're gonna give the top 5 reasons for both the 1500 and the HD trucks that we think they could be improved. Top 5 things that hopefully they will improve.
So let's start with the 1500 Ram truck because I think we need a new one, or at least a refreshed one. And like you said, top 5.
That's not 1500.
No, I'm preparing you for something.
Yeah.
Are you
okay.
ready? Bam.
Oh,
what do you
wow.
think about this?
Look at the color of your hair.
Oh, are you commenting on the gray?
So this is when the Ram 1500 that we currently have came out, and
so that was January 2018. That was over 5 years ago.
that was well before I was working here.
So I was a young lad back then. But all joking aside, we were there at the birth of the new 5th gen Ram 1500.
Yeah.
It was super exciting news. They changed the styling. They had new interiors, which are still amazing.
They're actually still pretty good.
But it was 5.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So now I think since then, the new GM trucks, the T1 platforms are out.
Yep.
And the new GM trucks were facelifted.
Yeah, exactly.
In that time. The new Ford F-150, the 2021, the 14th gen Ford F-150 is out. The new Tundra is out.
Yeah.
Well, the Titan is having other issues. We're not going to talk about the Titan.
Yeah.
But everybody's been refreshed and changed, but Ram hasn't.
Yeah, so it's pretty much now up to them. It's kind of up in the air of when is that going to happen? And it seems like it really needs to be sooner rather than later.
And I'm just talking about the exterior styling here. I think number 5 on our list has to be make it a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Give it some new flair so people can enjoy the new truck.
Yeah, because even from the previous 4th generation that's still being sold, by the way, as a Ram 1500 Classic, to their truck that came out in 2018, the 5th generation, it's not a massive difference. You could tell the grille, the headlights, most of the body panels are updated, but it's still pretty reminiscent of even the older generation. So it would be nice to see them do something that's substantial, that's noticeable for this next truck.
And I think they have full capability to do this, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, they have wonderful designers across the board, so I think they're super capable. So number 4 on my list, or our list, is improve quality.
Yeah.
Right? And so Ram's been in the news quite a bit lately.
Not for the reasons that we want.
No, in April, in February, and this is both heavy duty and light duty half-tons. So for example, recently the e-Torque Ram 1500s in April of this year had a recall of 131,000 trucks. So, I mean, every manufacturer has recalls. I mean, This is not like we're picking on Ram.
No, but a lot of times those recalls are for new product and things that are just being rolled out and might not be completely massaged into perfection yet. But the fact that these trucks have been around for as long as they have means it's reasonable to ask for there to not be many recalls, especially not this many.
Yeah, and because, I mean, the e-Torque system came out in 2018, 19.
Yeah, it's been around.
It's been around, so I'm pretty sure they've perfected it by now. But still, there are some recalls, like you said. Also, the Ram 1500 Classic is still there.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing because
Yeah.
I recently rented one of those trucks when I was in Indianapolis for the event. And it was a V6 Pentastar Ram 1500 crew cab. It was great as a runabout.
Yeah, and I mean, we bought a single cab Ram 1500 with the V6 Pentastar because it was one of the least expensive, full-size trucks that you could buy brand new.
Period.
So
Yes.
there is value in that.
Yeah, totally. So we're not dissing on the Ram Classic either. So I think that's a good thing. And maybe it should continue as an affordable choice. So we'll have to see. Number 3 is improve efficiency.
Yeah, this is one area where they definitely feel like they've fallen behind the curve because, the 5.7 Hemi, that motor has been around for a long time. And like we just said, you can still get that Pentastar V6. But yeah, both of those powertrains are aging when you compare them to the EcoBoost or a lot of the other options that you get in full-size trucks. I mean, hell, look at the 3-liter Duramax. That's a great engine. It's an expensive option, but it's a fantastic thing to have in the lineup. And the EcoDiesel is gone from the Ram 1500 these days.
Yeah, and Hemi, okay, it's a great engine. Okay, it does have some of its problems. They also have multi-displacement system, which is basically cylinder deactivation systems. Yeah. But there's a new engine on the horizon.
Yeah.
So. We have to talk about this. So the 3-liter Hurricane straight 6.
Yeah.
It twin turbocharged. There's a standard output of it and a high output version. It's currently in the Jeep Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. We know those vehicles share, frames and chassis in a large extent. So why not use the Hurricane in the Ram?
Yeah, and it seems like the obvious choice because this would be a much more modern, better option for maybe I don't know. I guess it's still kind of a premium powertrain. I wouldn't call it an entry-level powertrain.
Well, that's the problem with turbocharging, right? So the great thing about turbocharging is you have low-end torque, lots of power.
Yeah.
And just look at the EcoBoost trucks, right?
Yeah.
Really, really great. The downside, when you have the power, when you're asking for the power, you lose efficiency, right?
Yeah.
Because you're pumping a lot of air, the turbochargers are spooled up, and then you have to add fuel to make the power, and your efficiency goes down tremendously, and we've seen it in our testing.
Absolutely.
So, yes. So what about the hybrid?
A hybrid system would be really great. And again, if they want to be competitive with the powertrains that are available in a lot of their competition, like the Tundra and like in the F-150, then a hybrid option would go a really long way. And I would also love to see a hybrid truck, but even just a 6-cylinder turbocharged truck that's using an inline instead of a V6, because the inline 6 is just a great configuration, really smooth engine. And so having that as an option could draw some people to the Ram 1500 versus a lot of the V6 trucks that are its competition.
Yeah, just look at some of the German manufacturers, BMW and others have had inline 6s for a very long time and also turbocharged, right?
Yeah.
So those are beloved engines that are very, very powerful and very quite robust. So why not put this in a truck, right?
Exactly.
So there could be a lot of good things there. Number 2, what they should do is, I think, keep their interiors.
Yeah, because that's one of, if not the biggest high points when it comes to the current crop of Ram trucks is that the quality of materials in the interior is really great. And then the new, Uconnect 5 system has developed into a really pretty solid system. It's a good looking screen and a good size. So these interiors are great. We want to make sure that doesn't go away.
Yeah, and I think they're not planning on them going away. They invested a lot into this already, and they're fine-tuning it. We've seen it with their Rev truck.
Yeah.
So let's just bring this up right now because some of the future Ram styling will probably be very similar to what they showed in the concept and also the production version of their electric Ram 1500. We were talking about that LED signature that's in the front. It may have different grills and different appearances, but when they showed this Ram Rev production electric pickup, the interior was about the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're not changing their interior theory, basically.
Yeah, which is fine because, like we said, I think the interior is one of the things, as is our point of number 2 on this list. keeping that interior is one of the big things that they've been doing right and they should continue to do right. But when it comes to the styling that we see here on the Rev and what that means for future styling on the Ram trucks, and this is all personal preference.
Yes.
I wish the truck was a little bit boxier, more muscular and angular. I mean, like the F-150 exterior on that truck is got some nice hard edges to it, and it looks like a pretty muscular truck. I wish this was a little bit more in that direction, a little less smoothed out.
Yeah, I think they smoothed out their electric pickup because of efficiency, getting greater range, right?
Yeah.
So aerodynamics plays a big part. But still, I agree with you. I love the recent GM style.
Yeah.
And of course, Ram current style looks good.
Yeah.
So maybe they should go a little bit that direction as well. Also, I think they should keep some of the useful features and add new ones like power export, right? So power export, F-150 hybrid kind of broke into this space, was first to do it, 7.2 kilowatt. We charged the home, we charged the car with it, we powered the campsite. I don't know, we did a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, we welded off of it. It's an unbelievably useful feature to have. And again, I mean, if Ram could offer something like that, that would be really huge, because right now nobody has stepped up to Ford when it comes to that capability. You can pull power from the Tundra hybrid system as well, but it's nothing close to the Ford 7.2 kilowatt inverter. So that would be a great feature to have, something that I think would draw a lot of people to that truck.
And I also like features like Ram box and fancy tailgates. I think they bring a lot of usefulness. What do you think about Ram box?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick between something like the Ram boxes or the tailgates that open a number of ways versus a feature like having a lot of power that you can draw from the truck's powertrain, I would much rather have the latter, because to me, the Ram box, it doesn't do a whole lot for me. It takes up space out of the bed. And I don't know, it's not something that I would use myself. But I know there are people that love that system.
So, I don't know. I'm on the fence about the Ram box. I love it, but I'm thinking, would I buy it myself? You know, we've tested lots of trucks, and it's closed, airtight storage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a useful feature. If you don't have a tonneau cover, you can store some valuables in there and nobody will ever see them. So, and they have charging ports in there as well for like 120 volt system. So I think it's really great. But would I give up bed space for that? I think the jury's still out for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't myself. It's not that it can't be a useful feature, but for me, I'd pass.
And finally, to make the Ram 1500 even greater, I think more TRX.
Yeah, you got to keep the TRX. I mean, if we go into a new generation of trucks, seeing that go away would be a difficult blow.
So TRX, I think, did lots of good for Ram in the last year or 2 years since it's been out. Yes, it has a Hellcat engine, a supercharged V8, which is amazing. But there's a rumor of Hellcat being discontinued in Stellantis lineup, right? So will the TRX survive that engine going away? I think it could.
Yeah, and it better, because that is the flagship that I think brings a lot of pride to the Ram lineup. You know, a lot of people stand by these trucks partly because of the TRX and how impressively capable it is.
Yes, so those are the things for the light duty. Let's switch gears.
Yeah, let's get to HDs.
So you are a HD Dodge Ram customer.
Yeah, I've got a 94.
Yes, so you got a second gen. We have a 2022 4.5 gen.
Yeah, so let's
talk about this.
That's kind of the funny thing, because even people that love these trucks and spend a whole lot of time on the Cummins forums, a lot of them don't call the 5th generation Cummins a 5th gen. A lot of people call it a 4.5 gen, and there's a good reason for that we'll get into as our number 4.
But number 5 is quality, quality, quality. Recently, so Alex Lightman on our team, right?
Yeah.
Alex also owns a heavy-duty Ram. His is a 22 also. He recently had DEF injector problems.
Yeah, because to get from where we live to the office through the snow, he has to take a lot of short trips in the cold.
Yes, and he had some issues, even though he uses high quality def.
Yep.
He buys them in bottles, and he's very careful about this. Then there was a recall about potential fires. I can go on, but I won't.
Yeah.
But it still does not have a good image. When you see so many stories with Ram heavy-duty truck recalls. So I think they need to improve quality, especially because the engines and also, the Hemi and also the Cummins engines and a lot of the internals have been around for a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of the things that these recalls are about are seemingly very minor things that shouldn't be an issue and should be fixed very quickly. So especially with a vehicle that's meant to do a lot of work and be dependable, you would hope to see fewer recalls from it.
Yeah, because it's a work tool. I mean, heavy-duty trucks, yes, we use them for play a lot.
But it's a lot of people's livelihoods.
Yeah. You can't afford to have a truck in the shop for
No.
10 days or 7 or 5 days.
Yeah, and even if you're using it for fun to tow a personal trailer, if you're pulling that trailer cross country, something happens to your truck and it's taken out of commission for weeks. Not only do you have to abandon your truck, but you also might have a big trailer with you that you have to find a home for, find some way to get that back to you. So, it's not something that you want to see reliability issues with.
So the current, let's call it 4.5 to 5 gen heavy-duty Ram lineup, this is December of 2018. This is a spy image. This came out a little bit early, and then they officially unveiled it in January of 2019. So it's also been 4 years plus of this truck. So it could stand a little bit of freshening, but mostly I think it's the cab.
Yeah, and
It's the actual cab that needs changing.
That's where we get to number 4 on the list for the HD, is that the reason they call these 4.5 gens is because this is the old cab, basically. It's the old structure. And so that kind of limits how much you can really update the truck itself, especially when it comes to safety.
Yeah, and now we have a new 2023 Ford Super Duty.
Yep.
And we also have the 2020 plus GM heavy duty trucks with bigger cabs, latest safety equipment, latest steels and high strength steels and aluminum and everything that they do for their cab structures. And it's about safety. It's also about comfort.
Yeah.
Because the new cabs tend to be a little bit larger.
Yeah. So again, I mean, Ram is kind of the odd man out here where, as you said, Ford and GM have come out with a new generation of trucks. So it's impossible really not to turn your gaze over to what they're doing and say, when is the next thing coming?
Yeah. And here's a big, huge controversy, I think, mega cab.
Yeah.
Do they update the cab and create a new mega cab, or will the new cab that's a little bit larger already than the old cab will satisfy those customers who love mega cab?
Yeah, and this is what brings us to number 3 on our list, which is something where Andre and I don't necessarily agree because so the standard beds on the other HD trucks, the shorter bed is 6'10".
Yes.
And if you're pulling a fifth wheel, that's great.
That's great because you can turn a fifth wheel, because fifth wheel camping trailers tend to have large front ends. And when you make a tight turn, that front end of the trailer, is swinging, and it could come in contact with the cab of the truck that you don't want it to do.
You obviously don't want that.
Because, but the new the current Ram heavy duty trucks have a 6'4" bed length for the standard. They also have an 8-foot bed. So, you can do that.
Yeah.
But the
totally
shorter
possible.
bed that a lot of people like, it's too short.
Yeah, but that brings in the tough question because a short bed mega cab is the same size as a long bed crew.
Exactly. So because the wheelbase basically stays the same.
Yeah,
right? You're just changing the configurations on top of it.
It's likely if you make that bed longer, then you might have to get rid of the mega cab. But and here's the thing. I mean, my Cummins is a single cab. That's kind of my preference, single cab long bed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you see a lot of mega cab trucks around there, and I think that it has a pretty faithful audience that I'm sure wouldn't be too happy if the mega cab went away.
But here's what I think: the new Ram 1500, the fifth gen Ram 1500s, have more space in the back seat already.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, so let us know in the comments below, what do you think? Would you okay to let go the mega cab
Yeah.
and have a few more inches of rear legroom, but still get a bigger bed? I think that's possible. Anyway, let's move on to improve payload.
Yeah.
I think that's a big issue.
Which would also be a huge upgrade. And two, I mean, to be fair to the Rams, there's a lot of things outside of payload that they do well when it comes to suspension. I mean, specifically the air suspension that you can get
and
on
coil suspension systems.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because you can get a Ram with rear suspension that's anything from a leaf to coils to air.
And like air helpers.
Yeah.
And also, like a dually has a leaf and an air helper.
Yeah.
So they do a lot.
There's a lot of different suspension configurations, and especially, I mean, the coil springs and also the air suspension trucks, they ride really well. But something that they could do better is more payload.
And we have personal experience with this. We own a heavy-duty 2500 Ram. Like we said, when it came out of the factory, it had about 2,200 pounds of payload. That's not a lot when you compare it to the GM comparable truck or a Ford comparable truck, because Ford and GM, I don't think they talk to each other, but they both kind of raised their gross vehicle weight ratings to about 11,000, maybe sometimes 11,300 pounds. That gives them more space for more payload in their truck. So their trucks are around 3,000 pounds of payload, maybe a little bit more. And Ram is still at 10,000 pound gross vehicle weight, and they haven't budged.
Yeah.
I think they need to move up.
Yeah, especially because that's a huge difference. And payload is important. I mean, having sophisticated suspension with good ride quality is nice, but at the end of the day, these trucks are meant to work. And the more weight that you can saddle to them, the more functional they are as trucks. And that's what matters. They're utilitarian vehicles at the end of the day.
And I know they just came out with a heavy-duty Rebel. I think they should continue that. But I have another suggestion for a new trim level.
Yeah, I really like your idea here.
Number one, this is number one on our list, how to help Ram, is a hot shot edition. Okay, so listen to this. So we do a lot of driving.
Yeah,
I just recently
absolutely.
came back from a cross-country trip in a Tesla, which is on our electric channel. You should watch that. It's coming next week. We're going to publish it. But I see a lot of people like this. A Ram Cummins dually towing a giant trailer full of either vehicles, or sometimes they're carrying like equipment or air conditioners or pipe or something for work, right? They all have, 8-foot beds. Most of them are crew cabs, but although some short cabs also are there. And sometimes they're nicer cabs because these people, these drivers who use them for work, they want to be comfortable, they want to have payload, and they want to have efficiency, right?
Yeah, because you spend a lot of time in those trucks, but the thing is, and especially with really any work truck, it's something that's going to get used and abused. So spending nearly six figures on a truck just to have amenities, some of which are pretty necessary, like having the nicer spec LED lights if you're going to be driving at nighttime often, which these guys will, you're going to have to spend so much money on that truck.
And so what people do, some of them delete beds, right? They remove the factory bed. They put like little fenders over them, right? They put little toolboxes on them. Why not have a factory option where you click a box on the Ram website and you say, it doesn't have to be called hot shot. It could be another worker type trim, right?
Could be anything.
But so it's a factory bed delete, bigger fuel tank. Maybe it's a chassis cab, right?
Yeah.
For like a 3500, for example. Really nice seat, but one of them.
Yeah.
Like a one really nice massaging seat for that driver. LED lights, and maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. It's a tradesman with those features.
Yeah, exactly. So make it as affordable as possible with the features that are going to matter to somebody that's towing long distance, because a lot of people use Cummins trucks to do this. And if they went out and did this, I mean, this would really fill a hole in the market that I don't think is answered right now.
Yep. Well, that's our list. Let us know what you think. Maybe you have some other ideas.
Absolutely.
But obviously we love all trucks. We don't want to see Ram struggle.
No.
Like this. And they have a new CEO, so Tim Kuniskis is taking over now for both Dodge and Ram. He's going to be leading both brands. So maybe some things will change, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully, because again, I mean, over here at TFL, we're huge fans of Ram trucks. That's why we have lots of them, in addition to all the other truck brands that we buy trucks from. So, yeah, I mean, some of these improvements would just be huge and turn them into, as good as anything on the market.
All right, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.